Hi friends, how are you? I am sitting in front of my closet. It's my happy place right now. Comment below, let me know what do you think about this. I know it might be a little bit busy, and if it's too busy, let me know. But because I'm so excited about it, I wanted to sit here today and do my chat video. Here we are, sitting in front of my closet. Hi, my name is Sheila. Welcome to today's chat video. I just got out from work. I might look a little tired. It was a very, very busy day at work, which makes it a perfect time for me to do this video because I'm exhausted, but I have a smile on my face. I just left a job that I absolutely love. And because of that, I wanted to do this video today to talk a little bit about looking for a job. I am going to share my job hunting experience here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Be an inspiration to anyone that might be looking for a job at the very moment. I have seen comments come into a lot of my videos of people that are looking for jobs because I have shared my experience of moving here to Myrtle Beach on my channel. I also shared when I went on the job interview that the job that I do have now. Because of that, I thought, you know what, I need to take the time out and chat a little bit about my own personal experience. On that note, I would like to say this is my own personal experience. My experience won't be the same as yours, and it won't be the same as anybody else's. We all have our individual experiences as we go into the workforce. We're looking for a job, whether we have a job already. Each and every one of us have our own experience, and we have our own workload to bear. This is my own personal experience. That being said, I recently moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina from San Antonio. I left a job that I absolutely loved, and it was so hard to leave that job. I had been in a career field for a very long time that had taken its toll on me. I went into that career field a few years after my son was born, and I pounded the pavement, so to speak, day after day for many, many years. I worked as a single mom, had to work my way up from a starting position in that career field. And when I left, I had a very decent title, making a decent amount of money. Long story short, I ended up leaving that career field, went to work in another job for a little bit, inadvertently ended up at the university that I left, coming here to Myrtle Beach. That job changed my life. That job changed my thought process on the workforce completely. While I had spent many years in my career field and I loved my job up until I want to say probably about the last 5 years of working in my career field, but prior to that I absolutely loved it, and I could never even imagine looking for another type of job, leaving that career field. I thought that would be where I would be until I retire. But God had a different plan for me. My life took a lot of changes that we won't get into right now. I ended up at the university. I remember coming home my first day from work, so excited, and I was telling James all these things about this job. I'm so excited. I remember him looking at me and saying, I don't think I've ever seen you this excited before coming home from work. And I had not been that excited before coming home from work. It had been a long time anyway. I, for the first time, worked with people that I felt actually cared. When they said, how are you doing? They literally meant, how are you doing? I actually worked in health services, a university in San Antonio, working with nurses and 2 different doctors. I was in a whole different world, and that formed not only work relationships, but also formed personal relationships. We became friends outside of work. And when I say that, we weren't the type of friends that we just hung out on a Friday night together, or we went to each other's houses on a day-to-day basis, but we were the type of friends that we would go to happy hours together. We would create little events to do things after work together. We were invited to each other's houses for specific events, that type of thing. And I absolutely loved it. I loved my job, and I loved everybody on my job. Part of the transitioning from leaving that job, coming to Myrtle Beach, I will say I think I cried harder than I've ever cried leaving a job in my entire life. And to be honest and transparent, I still cry sometimes. I recently just spoke with Cindy, which is one of the nurses at my last job. You all have seen her on my videos. She is an absolute doll. She called me the other night after watching my last chat video, and we talked on the phone for a little bit. While I heard her tears coming, I held back mine. But when I hung up the phone, I honestly sat there and I just cried. They were tears of joy because I loved having such a great group of people that I work with. And they were also tears of sadness because I had left behind people that I absolutely love. I want to talk about looking for my job here in Myrtle Beach. I did place my resume on Indeed, and that, for the most part, is where I looked for my jobs. I went to a few random websites where I applied for jobs on a specific website, but for the most part, I worked through Indeed. Because I had been in a career field for so long, when I left that career field, I actually went to work for a client of mine, so I didn't have to look for that job. And then from that job, I was only there for a short while because we found very quick on that we were not compatible with each other. And so when I left that job, I actually went through a temp agency, and that's how I ended up at the university, which in turn, they ended up offering me a full-time position to be at the university. It had been probably about 15 years since I actually looked for a job. 15 years ago, when you went looking for a job, you actually hand wrote applications and you got all dressed up one day and you went out taking your resume, asking for applications. And some places would tell you, go into this little room and fill out your application, and then when you're done, come back in, and sometimes they do a little mini interview with you. Some companies would just hand you an application, tell you take it home and fill it out. Like, you just never knew what you were going to be up against, but you actually went into various places and you applied for the jobs. Now, I don't know of any place that you actually walk into and apply for a job. I think everywhere now is online in some form. I was relying on Indeed a lot, looking for jobs. And I will say Indeed can be quite daunting. Looking for a job in general can be quite daunting. What I ended up doing for myself personally is have a schedule of how many hours a day I would look for a job. And I told myself I would only look for a job during those hours. I would only look for jobs on certain days of the week. I didn't want to burn myself out or get myself discouraged by just staring into a computer all day long, because one thing for sure, that is not going to make a job come to you. If you do that, you will burn yourself out. In turn, you will have a very negative attitude, which I feel if you have a negative attitude when you're looking for a job, if you're blessed with the opportunity to go into an interview, that will in some ways show, because you're going to have that chip on your shoulder. You're going to be feeling very frustrated, because it can be very frustrating applying for job after job after job. And nowadays they have all these weird tests that you have to take. They have personality tests. You're applying for any kind of type of clerical or office type job, then they have these random tests that you have to take. And when I tell y'all, I probably took no less than 20 tests when I was applying and looking for a job. Same type of test over and over and over again. That's like a glitch in the system that I think they really need to fix, because the companies that make these tests are making money off of the companies that are using them for the test. But you should be able to just take the test. Like, if you're looking for a certain job in a certain career field, you should be able to take that test one time if they really need you to take the test, which I still feel like it serves no purpose, but that's my own personal opinion. But you shouldn't have to take a test 15 to 20 times, the same test basically over and over again for this company, that company, that company. But these companies that make up these tests are making money off of all of the various companies. We'll say that was very daunting. It was very frustrating for me, but I tried to remain positive, and my story ended up being a very happy story. So I actually officially got to Myrtle Beach on the 10th of March. I went to my first day on my job on April 4th. So I didn't have a long time, fortunately, of looking for a job. I will tell you, if you are looking for a job in South Carolina, depending on where you come from, where I come from, the pay is quite shameful, to say the least. It is definitely a lower paying place. That is something to take in consideration when you're moving from place to place. If you're moving from one state to another state, or one area to another area, it's very important, especially if you're a person that's going to be relying on your own income. and you don't have anybody else to kind of help you along the way, you do need to pay attention to what the income level is like. I had left a career field that I was making a decent amount of money. When I went to university, I was making a lot less. I was already somewhat comfortable with making less. So I knew when I started applying for jobs here, when I was seeing the dollar amounts that they were offering, I was not as disappointed. Nonetheless, I was fortunate enough, like I said, to land a job. I want to talk a little bit about what it's like for me and what I feel is important for me in the workforce. I'm only going to be speaking from my perspective. Bear in mind that we all have different reasons that we get up and go to work every morning. If you're a younger person watching this video and you still have small children, you may have to feel like you have to have that job making that amount of money because you know that you have little mouths to feed. Or you might be a person that this is where you are financially and you know that you can't make any less than this dollar amount. So that being said, I had formed a great relationship, had a wonderful job in San Antonio. My prayers was that I could find the same type of job here in Myrtle Beach, basically, that I left. I wanted to walk into a job what I had before, that when I walked in the mornings and said good morning, everybody said good morning, everybody was happy. I was fortunate and I was blessed enough to have that type of job. I now have a job that I absolutely love. That being said, I feel for me, this is for me speaking, at where I am in life, I'd much rather make less money and be happy than to make more money and be miserable. It was not something that came for me naturally. When I left my career field, it was very hard and I was very distrusting that I was going to be able to be okay making less money, as I realized that I was so much happier and I was at so much peace. And there is another whole story that I will be sharing with you all that go along with where I was and how blessed I was to get the job at the university, that there was a blessing for me coming that I didn't even know was being prepared. There is even more of a blessing that I was able to get here to Myrtle Beach on the 10th of March and be able to have a job by April the 4th. And even more of an amazing story is that it's a job that I absolutely love. I am so blessed and I am so thankful. And I do know that it's not that way for everybody. Some of you may have to go to a job every day that you don't like because you're trying to make your ends meet. What I want to say to you, stay positive. I've been right there where you are. I don't make a ton of money. I'm not in a financial position where I don't have to work. I can't go out and buy anything that I want. I have to live on a budget. I shared with you all that at the time that I was looking for my job, moving here cost us a lot of money. My husband was in a dry spot, so to speak, with his job. So there was a lot of pressure for me to find a job. But at the same time, I still tried to remain very, very positive. I believed that I was going to find the perfect job for me. Don't be discouraged if you are out for a job. That right job is right around the corner, or that you are doing the things that you need to do in that job. It will eventually happen. I'm at a spot in my life now. I don't want a career. I'm not out here trying to be anybody's boss anymore. I just want to go to a job that I love, and I can come home and leave that job behind me. I'm at a job now where I can say my coworkers are my friends. We are a great group of people that work in the office. We all get along well. We respect each other. I do have work friends. I did a video last week talking about personal friendships and things of that nature. And I kind of wanted to come in this week just talking about having work friends, how important it is to get along with the people that you work with. We spend more time with our coworkers than we spend at home, let's face it, especially if you're working full time. So it is very important that you get along with the people that you work with. If you are looking for that specific job for you, stay positive, don't give up. That job is coming. It will happen in God's time. And I know that's so hard when you're out there looking for a job. It's so hard, demeaning. You're at everybody's mercy. So many different emotions can come when you're looking for a job. Feel free to comment below and share your work experience, share your job hunting experience. Because one thing I have noticed in the chat video that I did, everyone was sharing a lot about their different experiences, and those different experiences help each other to be able to go through their experience. Thank you all so much for allowing me this opportunity to be able to chat with you today. If you are watching this video for the very first time and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and if you are a returning subscriber, you already know the love I feel for you. Bye-bye.